You've experienced it before, that moment when you wake up at 3:00 a.m., pulse quickening, someone's face still lingering in your mind's eye so vividly you can almost reach out and touch them, and the question arrives immediately. Why them? Why this moment? Let me tell you something. That feeling you're having, that sense that what just occurred wasn't merely a dream. You're right. What happened was an encounter in a realm most people don't even know exists. Here's what most people don't understand. In the territory of dreams, nothing arrives by accident. Each face that emerges in your sleeping consciousness has been deliberately summoned, not by your brain attempting to sort through yesterday's mundane details, not by that late-night meal sitting heavy in your stomach, but by the most ancient and intelligent aspect of your being, the part of you that never disconnected from the unified field of consciousness that connects all things. Something profound occurs the moment you surrender to sleep. Yes, your physical form enters a state of rest, but your awareness begins to expand beyond the boundaries of flesh and bone. You move through an invisible threshold between what you call the material realm and what exists beyond it, the energetic dimension where form follows consciousness. The ancients had a name for this space. They called it the astral plane. And it's here in this borderless territory that your soul finally gets to communicate without the constant interference of your thinking mind, without the protective walls of ego, without the endless noise of waking life pulling your attention in 1,000 directions. And here's what changes everything. Your soul chooses to speak through the language of relationship, through the faces and presences of others, because that's how consciousness evolves, always through connection, always through the mirror of another being. Every single person who enters your field, whether in waking reality or in the dream space, arrives carrying something for you. A teaching, a reflection, a fragment of truth you haven't yet integrated. Consider this for a moment. How many human beings have you encountered in this lifetime? Hundreds, maybe thousands. Colleagues from jobs you've long forgotten. Family members you see every week. Friends from childhood whose faces you haven't seen in decades. Random strangers on public transportation, social media connections you've never actually spoken to. Your brain has catalogued every single one of these faces somewhere in its vast storage system. Yet when you dream, who appears? It's always the same small circle of people. Or it's that one specific person you haven't thought about in years. Or it's someone you just met yesterday who triggered something inexplicable deep within you. That selectivity isn't random, it's precision. Your soul is using these dream presences as living metaphors, as energetic messengers delivering information your waking mind isn't ready to process. When your former partner appears in the dream landscape, the message might have nothing to do with that actual person. It's about what that relationship represented in your evolutionary journey. When your grandmother, who passed years ago, shows up, you have to ask, is her consciousness actually visiting you from another dimension? Or is she appearing as a symbol of ancestral knowledge that's trying to emerge into your awareness? When that distant acquaintance suddenly appears in your dream space, is their consciousness thinking of you in that exact moment, creating a quantum bridge between your two fields? The answer is it depends. And as we move deeper into this exploration, you're going to learn how to decode each type of appearance, how to read the messages being transmitted to you every single night. But before we go further, you need to understand the foundational principle that changes everything. Dreams are not random neurological firings. Dreams are the native language of the soul. During waking hours, you communicate in whatever language you learned as a child, English, Spanish, Mandarin, but your spiritual essence doesn't speak in words. It speaks in imagery, in symbolism, in felt sensations in the presence of others, and it uses the only window of time when your conscious mind becomes quiet enough to actually receive transmission, when you sleep. Spiritual wisdom keepers across every tradition, from the shamanic lineages of indigenous cultures to the meditation masters of Tibet, from the mystics of Kabbalah to the scholars of Jungian depth, psychology, all arrive at the same conclusion. The dream realm is just as real as physical reality. The only difference is that in that space, The laws of physics as you understand them cease to apply. Time stops moving in a straight line. Space stops being limited by distance. And your soul has complete freedom to construct exactly the encounters you most urgently need to experience for your growth. Your soul possesses a level of understanding about you that your conscious mind will never achieve. It knows where you're still wounded and haven't healed. It knows what gifts lie dormant within you, waiting for activation. It knows which relationships require closure or transformation. It knows about soul contracts from past incarnations that continue to influence your present circumstances. And it uses the dream space as sacred ground for revelation, for healing, for transformation that would be impossible in waking consciousness. So if you woke up today with someone's presence still echoing in your awareness, I want you to do something. Stop for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself these questions. What is this presence here to teach me? What aspect of my own consciousness does this person reflect back to me? What message is encoded in this nocturnal meeting? The answers might not arrive immediately, but they will arrive. Because when you begin asking the soul-level questions, the universe has no choice but to respond. There exists an invisible filament connecting you to every single person who has ever touched your consciousness in some way. Every person you've loved, every person you've hated, every person who awakened something in you that you didn't know existed before. I'm not speaking metaphorically here. I'm describing an energetic reality that can be felt, that can be perceived, that can even be seen by those who have developed enough sensitivity to subtle energy fields. Spiritual teachers across traditions call these connections energetic cords. Have you ever experienced that strange knowing that someone is thinking about you? Or suddenly found yourself remembering someone for no apparent reason, and then moments later your phone rings and it's them? That's not coincidence. That's vibrational information traveling along the invisible cords that link your energy field to theirs. I'm curious. Have you ever had a dream about someone and then they contacted you? Shortly after, share your experience in the comments below. Every time you form an emotional connection with another being, whether that emotion is love, anger, gratitude, betrayal, or resentment, you're establishing an energetic bridge between your two auric fields. The intensity of the emotion determines the strength of that cord, and here's what most people don't realize. These cords don't simply vanish because you stopped seeing the person. They remain active, continuing to pulse with information, with memory, with energetic charge until you consciously choose to dissolve or transform them. This is exactly why you continue dreaming about that person from a decade ago. The cord connecting you is still there, still transmitting, even though you haven't spoken a single word to each other in 10 years. And during sleep, when the defensive barriers of your conscious mind dissolve, these cords transform into highways of soul-to-soul communication. But there's something even more profound happening beneath the surface. Before you incarnated into this physical body, before you took your first breath in this lifetime, your soul made agreements, sacred contracts with other souls who agreed to participate in your journey of evolution. Your parents, that romantic partner who shattered your heart, that friend who betrayed your trust. Every single one of them signed an invisible pact with you before birth. The agreement stated, I will enter your life and play a specific role, even if that role is painful, to help you learn the exact lessons you chose to experience in this incarnation. In the dream space, these soul contracts get revealed. You encounter these people in the astral dimension not because of random chance, but because there's unfinished business between you, healing that needs to occur, forgiveness that needs to be offered or received, love that needs to be expressed, or simply a confirmation that the contract has been fulfilled, and it's time for both of you to move forward on your separate paths. Think of your soul as a radio receiver. During daylight hours, you're tuned to the dense, heavy frequency of physical reality. Bills demanding payment, traffic jams, endless responsibilities. But when you enter sleep, your frequency begins to rise. You start picking up other stations, other channels of information. And who else is broadcasting on those higher frequencies? the souls of every person with whom you share deep energetic ties. When someone thinks about you with real intensity, the energy of that thought doesn't just disappear into nothing, it travels. It finds the cord that links you to them and moves along that pathway until it reaches your energetic field. During waking hours, your rational mind acts as a filter, blocking most of this information from reaching your awareness. But at night, when you become vulnerable and receptive, when your defenses drop, the message gets through, and it manifests as a dream encounter. Modern science is finally beginning to validate what mystics have understood for millennia. Research into quantum entanglement demonstrates that two particles that were once connected continue to communicate instantaneously regardless of how much physical distance separates them. If this phenomenon occurs at the subatomic level, why wouldn't it also occur at the level of consciousness? You are made of the exact same particles that compose everything else in the universe. You are energy in a condensed form, and energy recognizes no physical boundaries or limitations. This explains why you dream of people on the opposite side of the planet, why visitations from those who have passed feel so incredibly real, because they are real. Consciousness doesn't cease to exist. It simply shifts to a different frequency, and during sleep, you're able to tune your frequency to match theirs. But here's the piece that most people miss entirely. You're creating energetic cords right now in this present moment. Every thought you direct toward another person, every emotion you feel about someone, these are either strengthening existing cords or weakening them. If you're constantly replaying grievances in your mind, if you're feeding anger or resentment, you're keeping toxic cords active and charged. And those cords will continue pulling these people into your dream space, not because you consciously want them there, but because the unresolved energy is demanding attention and resolution. Conversely, when you practice authentic forgiveness, when you cultivate gratitude, when you choose unconditional love, you completely transform the quality of these energetic connections. They stop functioning as prisons that keep you bound to the past. They become bridges of light, and the dreams that emerge from these elevated connections carry an entirely different frequency. They become healing transmissions, blessings, confirmations that you're both evolving even across great distances. Think about the people who show up repeatedly in your dream landscape. Ask yourself, what kind of energetic charge am I still holding with them? Is there something that remains unresolved between us? Is my soul trying to communicate something through these recurring nocturnal encounters? Because here's the truth that changes everything. You have far more power over your energetic connections than you've been taught to believe. You're not a passive victim of your dreams. You're an active co-creator of them. Your soul uses these dream encounters to reveal the map of your spiritual relationships to guide you toward whatever healing, growth, and liberation you're ready for. And when you truly understand this, when you fully internalize that you're in constant energetic communication with every soul that has touched your life, a profound responsibility emerges. You must become conscious of what frequencies you're maintaining. You must actively work to raise your vibration. You must dissolve cords that no longer serve your evolution. And you must strengthen the connections that genuinely nourish your growth. It's 3:00 a.m. You wake suddenly, almost violently. The dream is still there, so fresh it feels like you could step back into it. That person was right there looking directly into your eyes, saying something that felt more important than anything you've heard in waking life. You reach for your phone and discover 2 unread messages from that exact person sent just minutes ago while you were still asleep. Coincidence? Absolutely not. What you just experienced is one of the most common yet least understood forms of energetic communication between living human beings. While your body was sleeping, that person's consciousness reached across whatever distance separates you and found you in the astral plane. They connected with you there before they even consciously decided to send that message in physical reality. And your soul received the transmission. This happens constantly, far more frequently than most people realize. When another person thinks about you with genuine emotional intensity, whether that emotion is longing, concern, love, desire, or even anger, That emotional energy creates a wave that travels directly to you. During daytime hours, you're protected by distractions and the constant activity of the thinking mind. But at night, when all your defenses soften and drop away, the message arrives clearly. There are three primary categories of dreams involving living people that carry direct transmissions. The first category is what I call the soul distress signal. The person genuinely needs you. It could be an unspoken cry for help, a crisis they're moving through in silence, a deep loneliness they can't articulate to anyone. Your soul perceives this need before your conscious mind has any awareness of it. The dream arrives as an alert system, letting you know something is happening. The second category occurs when the person is thinking intensely about you, preparing to reach out, wanting to resolve something between you, missing your presence in their life. This type of dream typically comes with a very specific bodily sensation upon waking, that heaviness in your chest, that inexplicable certainty that you need to contact them. And when you finally do make contact, you discover they were indeed on the verge of reaching out to you. They were holding you in their thoughts with real emotional charge. This phenomenon is especially common with people you've shared deep bonds with, former romantic partners, soul-level friendships, very close family members. The energetic cord between you functions like a spiritual telephone line. When they pick up their end, when they think of you with authentic emotion, your end rings during the night hours. The third category is the most subtle and potentially the most powerful. Unspoken soul communications. These are the things the person's ego never had the courage to say to you in waking life. Requests for forgiveness that their conscious mind can't form. Declarations of love they're too afraid to speak. Confessions of hidden truth. In the astral plane, without the ego's protective filtering, without the fear of rejection or judgment, souls communicate with brutal, beautiful honesty. Have you ever dreamed of someone apologizing to you, offering genuine remorse, even though in waking reality they've never acknowledged any wrongdoing? That's not your mind creating wish fulfillment. That's their soul recognizing the harm on a deeper level of consciousness and seeking reconciliation with you. Their physical personality, their ego structure may never admit the mistake, but their essential self knows, and it seeks you out in dreams to make peace. Here's what makes this even more fascinating. These dream communications flow in both directions. You might also be transmitting messages without any conscious awareness of doing so. That friend who suddenly reappeared in your life after years of silence. They may have been dreaming of you repeatedly in the days before they reached out. That person you keep thinking about during waking hours. They're likely receiving your energetic waves while they sleep. We're all living transmitters and receivers, broadcasting and picking up signals constantly. The difference is that most people haven't learned how to consciously tune in. They don't know how to distinguish between a random dream and a genuine message transmission. And here's the key to decoding which is which. Pay close attention to the feeling. When a dream is simply your brain reorganizing information, processing memories from the day, you wake up and the dream evaporates quickly. Within minutes, it's mostly forgotten. But when a dream is carrying a genuine message from another living person's consciousness, you wake up with certainty, with urgency. Sometimes you can still hear their voice echoing inside your head. Their name stays with you throughout the entire day. I always tell people, if you wake up thinking intensely about a specific person for no logical reason, don't dismiss it. Don't rationalize it away. Send them a message, make the call, ask if they're okay, if they need anything. More often than not, you'll discover that yes, something was indeed happening on their end. And the simple fact that you reached out, that you responded to the subtle signal, will bring inexplicable relief to both of you. Because there's an invisible intelligence orchestrating these encounters, nothing happens by accident. When two people dream of each other on the same night, and yes, this occurs more frequently than most people realize, it's because genuine energetic work is being done between those two souls. There's a resolution that needs to occur, a healing that's in process, or simply a confirmation that the love connecting you transcends all physical distance and limitation. But I want you to be careful of a common misunderstanding. Not every dream about another person requires you to take external action. Sometimes the entire message is meant only for you, for your internal processing, for your own growth and understanding without involving the other person at all. The difference lies in the quality of feeling that accompanies the dream. If you wake up feeling peaceful with a sense of completion or clarity, the message has already been received and integrated. There's nothing more to do except be grateful for the insight. But if you wake up agitated with a strong impulse pushing you to reach out with questions that won't stop circling in your mind, then yes, perhaps it's time to extend that hand, to make that contact and understand something crucial. These dream messages don't only arrive from people you love or feel positively toward. Sometimes a person who caused you real harm appears in your dreams because on some level they're processing guilt, working through remorse, or needing to make peace with what occurred between you. You're completely free to choose whether or not you want to respond energetically. Remember this, forgiveness doesn't require reconnection. Forgiveness means releasing the energetic charge so that both of you can move forward unencumbered. Here's what you need to remember. You're never alone, not even in the private space of your dreams. There's an invisible web connecting every consciousness in existence. And when someone pulls on a thread in that web by holding you in their thoughts, by feeling something toward you, the vibration travels along that thread and reaches you always. There's one type of dream that leaves an imprint you'll carry for the rest of your life. The dream where someone who's already died appears so real, so tangible that you can feel the warmth of their embrace. Hear the exact sound of their laughter. See every tiny detail of their face with perfect clarity. You wake up with tears streaming down your face and an absolute knowing in your heart that transcends all doubt. That wasn't your mind playing tricks. It was a genuine meeting, and you're absolutely right. It was. Death doesn't end connection. It simply changes the address where that person resides. The person you love didn't stop existing when they stopped breathing. They transitioned to a different frequency band of reality. And dreams are the most accessible bridge between the physical dimension and the spiritual dimensions. It's the only time your vibrational frequency rises high enough to meet theirs halfway to create contact. Mediums, shamans, and spiritual masters from every tradition on earth confirm the same truth. Spiritual visitations that occur in dreams are real events. They're not your grief creating comforting illusions. They're not your mind generating false hope. They are authentic encounters between your soul and the soul of the person who transitioned. And there are unmistakable signs that distinguish a true visitation from an ordinary dream about someone you miss. The first distinguishing sign is absolute clarity. In typical dreams, everything is confused, blurry, illogical. You're simultaneously in 3 different locations. People's faces morph and change. The storyline makes no rational sense whatsoever. But in an authentic spiritual visitation, everything becomes crystal clear. The person appears exactly as they were, or sometimes even younger, healthier, radiating with light. The environment is simple and direct. The communication is purposeful. There's no chaos or confusion, only clarity and intention. The second sign is the emotional quality upon waking. After a genuine visitation, you don't wake up drowning in sadness. You wake up suffused with peace. Even if you cried during the dream itself, there's a deep serenity that has settled into your chest, a feeling of rightness, a knowing that everything is okay, that the person is okay, that they're at peace. This happens because their soul truly did visit you to deliver exactly that confirmation. The third sign is specific information. In real visitations, the person brings you knowledge you couldn't possibly have accessed on your own, or they offer guidance about current situations unfolding in your life. They mention something that's going to happen before it happens. They warn you about a decision you're considering. They comfort you about a problem you haven't even told anyone about yet. This is evidence that goes beyond memory. This is active real-time communication from another dimension of consciousness. There are documented accounts of people dreaming of deceased relatives who revealed the location of lost documents that were desperately needed. Others have been warned about health problems before any physical diagnosis occurred. Some received advice about relationships or situations that didn't even exist while the person was still alive. How could your own mind fabricate information about futures that haven't happened yet? The answer is straightforward. It can't, because it wasn't your mind. It was their consciousness accessing information from the spiritual plane where time and space function completely differently than they do here. From that vantage point, they can perceive the full panorama of your life's journey. They can see potentials and probabilities unfolding. And when there's something vitally important you need to understand, they find a way to reach through the veil and deliver that message to you. Now, what I'm sharing with you today barely scratches the surface of how deep this actually goes. If you're feeling something shift inside you as we speak about frequency and consciousness, if you're ready to understand not just the concept, but the complete system of how to consciously become the broadcast that attracts wealth, I've created a comprehensive guide called Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It takes you through the 9 master frequencies and shows you exactly how to shift from unconscious transmission to living as the field itself. It's linked in the pinned comment below. The 4th sign is the energetic signature of the dream itself. Spiritual visitations carry a frequency that's unlike anything else. There's a different quality to the light in the dream space. Colors appear more vivid or sometimes strangely soft and luminous. There's a sensation that you've stepped outside of time entirely, and the primary emotion that permeates everything is love, pure unconditional love. No matter what's being said or done in the dream, you feel this overwhelming love emanating from the person's presence. This occurs because on the other side of the veil, the ego structure dissolves entirely. All the grudges, the resentments, the pride, the defensive armor, all of that gets left behind when consciousness transitions. What remains is the pure essence of the soul, and that essence is made of love. It knows nothing else, so even if the person was difficult during their life, even if you had serious conflicts or painful history together, when they visit you in dreams after their transition, what arrives is their highest, most evolved version. Many people describe dreams where absent parents finally ask for forgiveness. Partners who died suddenly appear to offer proper goodbye. Friends who died young show up to communicate that they're at peace, that they're okay. These visitations are profound acts of healing. They're gifts from the spiritual realm that allow you to close incomplete cycles, release guilt you've been carrying, and move forward with a heart that's lighter than it was before. But here's something important to understand. Not every person who's transitioned will visit you immediately. There's an adjustment process that souls move through after death. Some need time to acclimate to their new state of being. Others are deeply engaged in their own evolutionary process on the other side. And some are simply respecting your grieving time, waiting for the exact right moment when you're ready to receive their presence without completely falling apart. If you've been waiting for a visitation and it hasn't occurred yet, that doesn't mean the person doesn't care about you or has forgotten you. It means that spiritual timing operates differently than physical time. The visitation will happen when you're truly ready to receive it, when your grief has softened enough that you can perceive their presence without being overwhelmed by it. And there's something you can actively do to create conditions that facilitate these visitations. Before you go to sleep, create a receptive, energetic atmosphere. Speak a simple prayer, light a candle in their memory, ask with an open heart for the person to come visit you in your dreams, not with desperation or demand, but with love. Not with attachment to outcome, but with genuine invitation, and then release it, let go completely. Trust that if the visitation serves your highest good and theirs, it will happen in perfect timing. When the visitation finally does occur, pay exquisite attention to every detail you can remember. What was communicated, how you felt during the encounter, what specific message was being conveyed to you. Write absolutely everything down the moment you wake up. because these particular dreams have a tendency to fade from memory much faster than ordinary dreams. It's almost as if they're constructed from a more delicate, ethereal substance that needs to be anchored onto paper quickly before it dissolves back into the invisible realm. And know this truth deeply: the people we love never completely leave us. They may no longer occupy a physical body, but they continue walking beside us on another plane of existence. And dreams are the windows through which they reach toward us, reminding us that love is infinitely stronger than death, that consciousness is eternal, that we will absolutely meet again. You woke up thinking about them, him, her, that person you were absolutely certain you'd moved beyond. Years have passed since you last spoke. You've built an entirely new life. You've even found someone else, created new patterns, new routines. But the dream last night was so intense, so vivid that you've spent the entire day disturbed, questioning everything you thought you knew about yourself. Why now? Why does this person still occupy territory in your dream landscape? Take a deep breath, listen carefully. This doesn't mean you haven't healed. It doesn't mean you're still in love with them. When former romantic partners appear in your dreams, your soul is working through layers and dimensions that your conscious mind can't even begin to access. Sometimes that person's presence in your dream space has absolutely nothing to do with them as an individual. They're functioning as a symbol, a temporal marker, a representation of a specific version of yourself that existed during that chapter of your life. Consider it from this angle. That former partner represents who you were when you were with them, the dreams you held then, the fears you carried, the beliefs you operated from. When they appear in your dream, your soul isn't necessarily revisiting them. It's revisiting that version of you. It's processing lessons from that period of your life. It's healing wounds that were opened during that relationship, but have roots that go much deeper than that single partnership. Often, an ex appears in your dreams precisely when you're about to repeat a pattern you haven't yet recognized. Your soul is showing them to you as a warning, essentially saying, look carefully, you're doing it again. You're choosing the same dynamic, the same type of person, the same unconscious behavior, just with different packaging. The dream arrives as a course correction, a reminder that you've walked this road before and you already know where it leads. Other times, the ex shows up in your dreams when you finally integrated the lesson that relationship came to teach you. The dream functions as a form of spiritual graduation ceremony. Their presence appears calm, peaceful, without any dramatic charge or emotional turbulence. It's your soul's way of confirming that you've completed that chapter, that you've extracted the wisdom, and now you're genuinely free to move forward. Just because they appeared in your dream doesn't mean you need to send them a message. Breathe, process what's arising, ask yourself these questions. What is this dream teaching me about myself? What aspect of my own consciousness does this person represent or reflect? What pattern is my soul calling me to observe and potentially change? Express gratitude for the lesson, for the connection you once shared, for the memory. Even if the relationship ended in pain or betrayal, that person was part of your soul's journey. Honor that truth without needing to resurrect what's already complete. Have you ever dreamed of someone from your past and woken up completely disoriented about what it could possibly mean? If so, comment below and let me know. Here's the truth that will revolutionize how you understand your dreams. Most of the people who appear in your dream space aren't actually representing themselves. They're representing you. Different aspects, different parts, different dimensions of your own consciousness. That envious friend who sabotages you in the dream. That's your own internal envy that you're refusing to acknowledge. That controlling maternal figure who suffocates you. That's your fear of losing control manifesting as a person. That lover who rejects you. That's the self-rejection you're imposing on yourself day after day without conscious awareness. So, how do you distinguish between when a person in your dream is serving as your mirror verses, when they're delivering a message about themselves, or an actual energetic connection? Pay attention to the dominant emotion. If the dream leaves you feeling angry, ashamed, jealous, or intensely uncomfortable, you're likely encountering one of your own shadows. Shadow is the term Carl Jung used to describe the aspects of ourselves that we deny, repress, or refuse to claim. Every human being has shadows. The difference between wisdom and unconsciousness isn't whether you have shadows. It's whether you're willing to recognize them and integrate them. On the other hand, when someone appears in your dream displaying positive qualities you admire, courage, creativity, authentic leadership, deep compassion, that person is reflecting dormant potentials that already exist within you. Your soul is essentially saying, look, this is yours too. These qualities are already inside you. You just need to claim them and bring them into activation. Before we continue deeper, I want to extend an invitation to you. If you're genuinely looking to transform your reality from the inside out, to shift your consciousness at the most fundamental level, I've created something specifically for this purpose. It's called the Quantum Thinking Challenge. 21 intensive days where you'll receive simple but extraordinarily powerful techniques to raise your frequency, change your mental patterns at the root level, and begin manifesting the reality you actually desire to live in. Many people have already reported breakthrough experiences that completely surprise them. Why not become the next? You'll find access in the first pinned comment below this video. Now let me tell you about something that will challenge everything you think you know about time. You dreamed about someone you hadn't thought about in years. In the dream, she was visibly pregnant. 3 days later, you accidentally discover through social media or a mutual friend that she's actually expecting a baby. Coincidence? Random luck? Or did your soul access information that hadn't yet fully materialized into physical form? The truth about time is this: it doesn't function the way you were taught in school. Past, present, and future don't exist in a straight line with clear separations between them. They exist simultaneously in different dimensional layers of reality. And when you sleep, when your consciousness expands beyond the severe limitations of the physical body, you gain access to these alternative timelines. You can perceive things that haven't yet happened in linear time. Premonitory dreams involving specific people occur far more commonly than most people imagine. Your soul can detect the frequencies of events that are forming in the energetic field before they fully condense into physical manifestation. It's similar to watching storm clouds gather on the horizon long before the rain actually begins to fall. The storm is already in the process of forming. You're simply perceiving the early signs before others notice them. There are 3 main categories of premonitory dreams involving people. The first category is the personal alert. You dream of someone close to you being in danger, experiencing illness, or moving through some kind of crisis. Days or weeks later, you discover that something genuinely happened to that person. Your soul detected the energetic signature of the event before it fully materialized in form. The second category is the announcement of transformation. You dream of someone in a completely different context than you've ever seen them in. A new home, a new career, a new relationship. And within a relatively short time, you find out that person is indeed going through exactly that transition. Your consciousness accessed the future timeline where that change was already set into motion, where it already existed as a strong probability. This happens with particular frequency when you share strong energetic bonds with someone. Mothers dreaming about their children before major life events unfold. Best friends sensing significant changes before any announcement is made. Partners feeling the energy of transformations that haven't yet been verbalized. The stronger the bond, the clearer the transmission. The third category is the rarest and carries the most far-reaching implications. Collective premonitory dreams. You dream about a public figure, someone widely known, and the dream contains information about future events that will impact many people. There are well-documented accounts of individuals dreaming about natural disasters, political elections, historical turning points involving public figures days or even months before these events occurred in physical reality. This isn't superstition or wishful thinking. This is consciousness operating according to quantum principles. At the quantum level of reality, particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until the moment they're observed and collapse into a single state. At the level of consciousness, future events exist as potentialities, as probability waves until they solidify into the present moment. and minds that have developed sensitivity can access these potentialities during the dream state when normal mental boundaries dissolve. But here's the question that everyone immediately asks when they hear about premonitory dreams. If you dream about something harmful happening to someone, does that mean it's destined to occur? Is the future already written? And this is perhaps the most important piece to understand about premonitory dreams. The future isn't fixed, it's probabilistic. There are multiple possible timelines unfolding simultaneously like branches on a tree. When you have a premonitory dream, you're perceiving the most likely timeline based on current energies, current choices, current trajectories. But you possess the power to alter that trajectory. A premonitory warning doesn't exist to show you an inevitable fate. It exists to give you the opportunity to intervene, to shift the energy, to change the outcome. If you dream of an accident involving someone you love, you can warn them. You can ask them to be extra careful on that specific day. You can send protective energy toward them consciously. Often the simple act of acknowledging the warning and taking it seriously is enough to shift the energy sufficiently that the event gets diverted onto a different timeline where it doesn't occur at all. You woke up. The dream is still pulsing through your entire being. The person was there too real to dismiss as imagination. The message felt clearer than anything you've heard in waking life. So now what? Do you just get up, pour coffee, go about your ordinary routine, and allow everything you just experienced to fade into nothing within a couple of hours? Not anymore. Because now you understand that dream wasn't entertainment for your sleeping mind. It was sacred communication from the deepest part of your being, and sacred communication demands response. It requires honor. It requires conscious action. The first ritual is deceptively simple but absolutely essential. Capture the dream before it evaporates completely. Dreams are constructed from an ethereal substance that begins dissolving the instant you open your eyes. You have approximately a 5-minute window before the details become irretrievable. So before you do anything else, before you reach for your phone, before you go to the bathroom, before you speak to anyone, grab a notebook and begin writing. It doesn't need to be beautiful prose. It doesn't need to make logical sense. Just pour everything you can remember onto the page. The person who appeared, the location, the colors, the emotions you felt, the words that were spoken, the symbols that appeared. Write quickly. Capture as much as you possibly can because your rational brain is waking up now, and it's going to start editing, rationalizing, discarding anything that seems illogical or impossible. Don't allow it. Capture the raw chaos first. Meaning and clarity will emerge later. I've maintained a dedicated dream journal on my bedside table for years now. Some mornings I wake up and fill 3 entire pages. Other mornings it's just a few sentences. But this sacred ritual of capturing the dream has become absolutely non-negotiable for me, because I've learned through painful experience that the dreams I fail to write down are almost always the ones carrying the most crucial messages. I've lost too many valuable transmissions to laziness or the mistaken belief that I'd remember them later. After you've captured the dream in writing, the second ritual begins. Feeling. Close your eyes again. Take a slow, deep breath and drop back into the emotional texture of the dream. Not the storyline or the plot, the feeling underneath everything. How does your physical body feel right now in this moment? Light and expansive, heavy and contracted, agitated, at peace. Is there a particular area of your body that's reacting or holding tension? Tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, constriction in your throat. Your body holds truths that your thinking mind constantly tries to disguise or explain away. If you woke from a dream where someone was offering you forgiveness, but your body feels tense and defensive, something still remains unresolved beneath the surface. If you dreamed of something that seemed disturbing or frightening on the surface, but your body feels relaxed and open, the message was likely about release and letting go, not about threat or danger. Sit with that feeling for several minutes. Breathe consciously into it. Allow your body to tell you what the dream actually meant beyond what your mind thinks it meant. This is somatic wisdom, embodied knowing, and it never lies. The third ritual is conscious questioning. Take what you've written and begin asking yourself precise, targeted questions. Why did this specific person appear in my dream right now? What's currently happening in my life that would cause my soul to summon this particular presence? What aspect of my own consciousness does this person represent or reflect back to me? What quality, what wound, or what gift are they mirroring? What was the primary emotion I felt during the dream? What is this emotion trying to communicate about my current waking reality? Is there any concrete action I need to take in physical reality based on what was revealed in this dream? Don't force answers to arrive immediately. Don't try to figure everything out through mental analysis alone. Let these questions float in your awareness as you move through your day. The answers will arrive when you're in the shower, while you're sitting in traffic, during a random conversation. Your soul will continue speaking to you through synchronicities, through seeming coincidences, through sudden insights that appear out of nowhere. Take a moment right now and comment below with this phrase: I am listening to my soul's messages. This isn't just casual engagement. This is you making an energetic declaration to the field of consciousness that you're no longer ignoring the transmissions coming through your dreams. It's a signal that you're becoming conscious, that you're waking up to the reality that exists beyond the surface of ordinary life. Your dreams possess exactly as much power as you're willing to grant them. If you consistently wake up, dismiss them as meaningless, and immediately shift into autopilot mode for the day, they'll keep coming, growing progressively more intense, sometimes even more disturbing until you finally pay attention. But if you create a sacred practice around honoring each message that comes through, around questioning, feeling, integrating, and taking aligned action, you'll discover something extraordinary. You have a personal oracle working on your behalf every single night. A direct line to the deepest wisdom that exists anywhere, and when you begin living at this level of conscious attention, at this level of active partnership with your soul, everything changes. Your entire life begins to shift. You stop feeling lost or disconnected. You stop constantly seeking answers outside yourself, searching for gurus or experts to tell you what to do because you've activated a direct channel to the most profound wisdom available. The wisdom that already exists within your own consciousness. If you found value in what we explored today, consider rewatching this video tomorrow morning as you wake, letting these concepts settle even deeper into your consciousness. And if someone in your life is searching for answers in their dreams, share this with them. When you transmit this understanding to another person, you're not just helping them decode their dreams. You're actually strengthening your own connection to this frequency. You become a clearer channel. The act of sharing quantum consciousness creates a ripple in the field that amplifies the transformation for everyone involved. If what we've explored together in this video is resonating with something deep inside you, if you're feeling that recognition, that sense of truth landing in your body, then I want to invite you to subscribe not just to this channel as content to consume, but to this frequency, to this space of conscious exploration. Subscribe to stay connected to this ongoing conversation about the deeper dimensions of reality that most people never question or examine. The more of us who begin to see beyond the surface, the more the collective field of consciousness begins to shift and reflect that expanded awareness. So tonight, when you prepare for sleep, I want you to approach it differently than you ever have before. Before you close your eyes and surrender to unconsciousness, set a clear intention. Say it out loud or silently to yourself. I am open to receiving messages from my soul. I will remember my dreams. I will honor what is revealed to me. Place your notebook and a pen within easy reach beside your bed, and then release all attachment. Simply trust the process, because here's what you need to deeply understand. You're not alone on this journey through consciousness. Your soul is with you constantly, guiding your steps, warning you when necessary, healing wounds you didn't know needed healing, revealing truths you're finally ready to see. And every single person who appears in your dreams is functioning as a messenger, delivering exactly what you need to know at precisely the moment you need to know it. Wake up and write immediately. Feel what's moving through your body. Question what your soul is communicating, integrate the wisdom being offered, take whatever action feels aligned and true. Your dreams are sitting there waiting patiently for you to respond. Your soul is waiting for you to finally start listening with full attention. And on the other side of that invisible veil that separates dimensions, every person who has ever touched your life, whether they're still breathing or they've transitioned beyond physical form, continues walking alongside you. They meet you every single night in that sacred space where linear time collapses, where physical distance becomes meaningless, where only pure connection, profound healing, and eternal love remain. Honor that truth. Honor your dreams with the reverence they deserve, and then watch with amazement as your life transforms in ways you never imagined were possible. Before you leave this video, I want to ask you one more thing. Drop one word in the comments below that captures the energy, the intention, or the transformation you're choosing to embody moving forward. Just one word that represents what's shifting inside you right now. This is your energetic signature being sent into the quantum field, a declaration of who you're becoming. And if you haven't yet, subscribe now, not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent with this frequency, to stay aligned with this path of conscious awakening. Because the more of us who embody this level of awareness, the more powerfully the world around us reflects that truth back to us. We're not separate individuals having isolated experiences. We're nodes in an infinite web of consciousness. Each of us affecting the whole. Your awakening matters. Your dreams matter. You matter more than you've been taught to believe. Now, understanding your dreams is just the beginning of working with the quantum field consciously. What most people don't realize is that the same mechanism that brings specific people into your dreams is also responsible for every synchronicity you experience in waking life. When you start recognizing the patterns, when you understand how the field communicates through perfect timing and meaningful coincidences, you gain access to a level of reality creation most people never discover. That's exactly what I explore in the next video. When you understand synchronicity, everything about your reality changes, where you'll learn to read the language the universe is speaking to you constantly and use it to navigate your life with precision and grace.